Hello, New Hope family. This is Pastor Dave coming to you with Midweek in the Word for Wednesday, the 21st of September in 2022. Living in the past, I guess. And today we're going to talk about He Laughs. And we're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 18, verses 9 through 15. But we're going to lead up to that with what happened back in chapter 17 in verses 17 and 21 to see that there were more than one party that laughed at the words of God. And so as I look in my Bible in Genesis chapter 17 and verse 17, God is speaking with Abraham. He's just changed his name, and he tells him this, that your wife's name will no longer be Sarai, she shall be Sarah, and I will bless her also and give you a son by her. Then I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations, kings of peoples shall be from her. And you get to verse 17 of chapter 17. It says, Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, Shall a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? And so then we jump down to verse 21. After God has some more interchange with Abram about Ishmael, he says, But my covenant I will establish with Isaac. He gives the name of this son that will be born to Abraham and Sarah, Isaac. What does that mean? It means he laughs. Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at this set time next year. So we go over to chapter 18. Remember last time these three men appeared as Abraham sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, as he had his tent pitched by the oaks of Mamre, trying to find some shade and some cool. And he showed them the customary hospitality that you did when you had guests come to your home. He fed them, and he recognized them, though, because when he went out to meet them, particularly the one, he fell on his face and greeted. And we pick it up then in verse 9 of Genesis chapter 18. I'm going to read through verse 15. And it says, Then they said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? So he said, Here, in the tent. And he, being the angel of the Lord Jesus Christ in a pre-incarnate appearance, said, I will certainly return to you according to the time of life, and behold, Sarah your wife shall have a son. Sarah was listening in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself. There it is. Abraham laughed, Sarah laughed. And she said in her own mind, in her own heart, After I have grown old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh? Saying, Shall I surely bear a child since I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. And so there we see it. Abraham laughed at God's promise of a son. Sarah laughed at God's promise of a son. Isaac was a constant reminder of God's promise and power in their lives because his name means he laughed. And so we see that we can trust the word of the Lord in any circumstance, even the ones that seem impossible. And there are times when God laughs as well. The scriptures record that. Usually it's at the plans of the wicked, knowing that their judgment is coming swiftly. We can find that in Psalm 2, verses 4 and 5, Psalm 37, verses 12 through 15, Psalm 59, verse 8, and Proverbs 1, 25 through 27, where we get the personification of wisdom saying these words, but representing the heart, the mind, the wisdom that is God. Because as the New Testament tells us, Jesus Christ has become for us wisdom and righteousness and some other things in a verse there. So God laughs, and he, in Job chapter 8, verses 20 and 21, promises us restored laughter for our faithfulness. You know, it's really easy to get down in this life. And as we strive to see new life in our church family, don't get discouraged. Pray, trust God. He's promised us in his word and by his spirit, his working as long as we're faithful. And so he promises us restored laughter for our faithfulness. Job 8, verses 20 and 21. Behold, God will not cast away the blameless, nor will he uphold the evildoers. So as we continue to walk with him in faith and trust him to do a miraculous work in our midst, we can see new life brought into New Hope Baptist Church. But don't doubt, because then you will be included with those who don't believe. And that's not a good place to be. And verse 21 tells us, he, speaking of God, will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. He will fill your mouth with laughter. Just the joyous laughter that bubbles up from a full heart, knowing that God has done a wondrous thing in our midst. So, this is a short lesson, but it's an important one. Always remember, he laughs. It's a reminder to us of the presence, the power, and the promise of God. So, you all look at those verses that I told you about in Psalms, contemplate those, read Job 8, 20 and 21 again, and just be blessed in the coming week, and let God use you to restore laughter to your heart as you faithfully follow him wherever he leads.